My name is Krisha and I'm doing this assignment for media writing, and I'm currently with one of the teachers who's currently teaching at a homeschool. So we'll be interviewing about cyberbullying, and he will be answering a few questions. Okay. How common do you think cyberbullying has become among students today?
Hi everyone, my name is Jermaine and I'm currently teaching at a homeschool and I also do online tuition as well. I would say in this day and age, cyberbullying has become a very serious issue. I think it's something that we overlook most of the time. Mainly because everybody has a smartphone nowadays, and since it's so accessible, even young children have access to it. So I would say it is definitely a problem that is very prevalent nowadays.
What are the usual signs you look for to identify a student being bullied online?
For me, honestly, I would say, well, I can speak from my own experience. Children or young people who have faced cyberbullying, typically they're more quiet than usual. For example, a student who's always chatty, and there might be a day where he's very quiet. I think that is definitely an obvious sign. I can't get into the science of it, but I think I can talk about emotions and what we see on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
How do you usually handle a case when a student reports cyberbullying?
Honestly, I would try to handle these kind of cases by talking to them as a friend. Obviously, firstly, because if we make this such a big case or make it something bigger than it is, it's very easy for these students to be in a position that's very uncomfortable. So I think the best thing is to always try and speak to them as people first, before we make this anything bigger. And yeah, I think ultimately, if anyone is going through anything, the most important is that we lend a ear to them, and we also be an outlet to them, so they can share their feelings with us.
So as a teacher, do you feel comfortable coming forward to teachers or counselors about these issues?
Definitely, I'm just a teacher, right? I'm not qualified when it comes to anything related to like mental health and stuff like that. Sometimes we think we know the solution to all of these problems, but I think it's always the smarter thing to go to a professional, someone who has experience when it comes to this sort of topic. Yeah.
So how do you collaborate with parents when such cases happen?
Well, that can be a bit difficult, especially when we compare the Asian mindset compared to the Western mindset. We are still very conservative. I feel like a lot of the times parents, they choose what they want to hear. They don't want to know that their kid is lonely in school, or is depressed, or is facing any sort of mental health issue. So I feel when it comes to talking to parents, I can only meet them halfway. As a teacher, I can only mention the problems to them, but they also need to meet me halfway by being understanding and being willing to make some changes and to help their kids. Yeah.
Do you think school rules or policies are strong enough to address online bullying?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's good enough, in my opinion, because, well, it's not really the school's fault. It's mainly because it's very, very difficult to regulate. As mentioned earlier, everybody has access to social media. There are countless social media platforms out there, and we are living in a generation where if you are not using social media, you immediately become the weird one or the odd one out. And for young people or children, no one wants to be the odd one out. We all want to fit in, we all want to find our groups and stuff like that. So schools and we can all try to create a safer place online. And I feel like this is something that should start at home. Parents should always regulate what their kids are going through and stuff like that, because they're with them most of the time. Yeah.
How can school create a more supportive environment where students feel safe both offline and online?
I definitely feel that most schools, they need the resources, to deal with these sort of problems. A lot of schools don't have people that are qualified to deal with these sort of problems, and it's very important that these schools get access to these resources, whether it be getting a professional or getting funding and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what's the most important message young people need to understand about digital respect?
I feel like digital respect is basically still respect. You know, like how we treat people on a day-to-day basis. We always need to speak to people, and treat others like we want others to treat ourselves. Understand that your words, they mean more than you actually think. Sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's just a joke, or it's just something to be, to laugh about, but we don't know the true effects it has on people. And we've seen many cases, not just in Malaysia, but all around the world, where victims of cyberbullying, they resort to very drastic measures. So I think ultimately it's important for not just young people but everybody to understand that even leaving a comment can be very detrimental to others. Yeah.
So that is the end of the interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.